Now, the Ford Everest is a large three-row SUV that we like quite a lot. But the thing about Ford is it is a lot about the spirit of adventure, which is why for the end of the year, there is now a new variant to the lineup. Say hello to the new Ford Everest Wildtrak with a whole bunch of embellishments and upgrades again to ignite that spirit of adventure. Is this now the Everest to beat? Is this now our new favorite Everest in the lineup? Well, in this walk around, we're going to find out. My name is AIMAN ABDULLAH, this is Malaysian Motoring, and this is our very quick walk around of the 2023 Ford Everest Wildtrak. Now for the Everest Wildtrak, there are a few changes over the Everest Titanium. So for starters, you now get Wildtrak badging up here, you get a bit more grey around the grille as well as for the grille inserts, and all of the bright work that we saw before have now been swapped out for something a little bit darker as part of its adventure theme. Now you still get the same fixtures and fittings, which means you get LED fog lights, full LED headlights replete with a matrix LED system. You get 20-inch alloy wheels, which are wrapped in highway terrain tires from Goodyear, ensuring that you have the best blend of on-road and off-road performance, although I suspect there will be customers who will want something a little bit more aggressive. Now, as you can see, on the Everest, we were used to seeing a lot of chrome down the side, but now it is all done in black. And that is, again, to underline the adventurous theme of the new Everest Wildtrak. Even the bi-turbo badge has gone black, so has the Wildtrak badge down there. You get standard side steps on this car because obviously the Wildtrak, or the Everest rather, is quite tall, which means you may need a little bit of help for ingress and egress, but overall everything back here looks quite good. You also get a set of raised roof rails to further improve practicality, all in the spirit of added performance and capability with your new Everest. Now, back here, you will find, again, Everest badging done in a little bit of a darker tone, Wildtrak badging done again in a darker tone, and more of that dark grey surfacing all over the place. However, in terms of overall practicality, if I can find the button, you will find the same amount of cargo room that you did in the past, which means with all 7 seats up, you will find a good, decent, usable amount of space, maybe not for a holiday, but good enough. And of course, these seats can be tumbled electronically, where if I just fold this away, and I press a button, they tumble quite easily. On top of that, if I need added practicality, all I need to do is just press these 2 buttons and they raise electronically. This is a feature that we again first saw in the Land Rover Discovery, and the fact that it's here on something that is significantly cheaper than the Land Rover is quite nice. Inside, we're seeing a lot of the stuff that we love from the Everest in the past. If you'd like to see our full review of the Everest Titanium, you can click up here. But like I said, it's the same practical interior we've seen from the Everest in the past, but it's now been given a bit of a Wildtrak embellishment, again to ignite the spirit of adventure. So you have these black leatherette upholstery covering all the seats as well as the doors and the dash, which come with Wildtrak lettering on the seats as well as contrast orange stitching everywhere. Again, to highlight the fact that this is not your average Everest. The same goes for the steering wheel, where again, it's leather wrapped with that contrast orange stitching. You still get the same infotainment system that we got before, which means it's a very large screen, replete with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You get a wireless phone charger, dual USB ports, your drive mode selector down here, and the E selector for the 10-speed automatic gearbox, which means that you're always in the right gear, and more importantly, it does that thing where when you switch the truck off and it's not in park, it will move itself. Very spooky. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the interior practicality of the Everest was never a bad thing. And of course, this is aided further in the back, where you will find a pretty good amount of space. With this seat set up in my driving position, as you can see, I have a good amount of knee room and a good amount of headroom despite the roof-mounted aircon vents and the full-size panoramic sunroof. As far as I'm concerned, life back here is pretty good. You've got controls for your aircon blower, so you can raise and lower that if you want. You have a 3-pin socket, as well as a USB-C and USB-A port should you want it. Aha, the air conditioning seems to be working, which means I no longer need to sweat my arse off. On top of that, these seats come with ISOFIX mounts on either side. You still get the same orange stitching on black leatherette upholstery as expected. And if you pull down this armrest, you will find a couple of deployable cup holders, better than what you get in a Porsche. And as far as I'm concerned, this space is very, very nice indeed. If I had one complaint, it's the fact that these seats still are mounted a little bit too low, which means I need to stretch out in order to get any form of under-thigh support. Weirdly, the second row in a Ranger appears to be a bit better. Now, talking about the third row, there is a good amount of space back there, and these seats can be slid a little bit further forward in order to make more room for the third row passengers. And again, if you want to see a bit more of that, check out our full review of the Everest Titanium. Now, the new Everest Wildtrak is certainly not cheap, and there are only 10 of them coming in for this year, which means this is a very hot commodity indeed. But for that money, you are getting a fully loaded SUV, which means you get level 2 semi-autonomy as standard, including things like lane keep assist, lane centering control, blind spot monitoring, a full 360-degree camera, rear cross traffic alert, as well as autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection, but most importantly, for me at least, adaptive cruise control with stop-and-go functionality, which means this is very much a truck that will be at home on the road as well as off the road. Is this going to be our new favorite Everest? Well, we'll just have to wait for a full review to find out, and we certainly hope you guys will stay tuned, so be sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell to be notified every time we make a new upload. And while you're at it, let us know what you think about the new Everest Wildtrak. Is this funky? Do you like this color as much as we do? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.